Hi, this is Mika. Thanks for coming back to Leap Taken. Here on this channel, I talk about all things spiritual, witchy, love, attraction, manifesting, and everything else in between. So, today, what I'm going to be talking about is a little story about using a spirit board. It happened a while ago, but I wanted to talk about it and my success or my experience, I should say, with it. While I'm doing that, I'm going to be doing something called pre-pooing. I'm gonna oil my scalp, give myself a little scalp massage, and I'm gonna pull the oil down the length of my hair because today is wash day for me. And wash day is a very long day, which I love. It's my spa day. So this is step one, doing a scalp massage. So I wanted to get the video done, but if I wait, it takes me hours to do this process. Each process I wait, and then my hair will look even crazier by the time I'm done. So just ignore what you see or, enjoy. I don't know if you're into hair, but I'm using some of my homemade Ayurvedic hair oil. It has a lot of Indian herbs, including fenugreek, which is great for hair growth, and peppermint, which is great for stimulating the scalp. And it's an olive oil base with coconut oil and a couple other herbs, neem, amla, but that's not what this video is about, so I'm not going to go in a whole thing about that. But let me get to what the video is about while I do this. So what I wanted again to talk about was my use with the spirit board. So I remember some years ago, I was living in North Carolina. We have been living there for about 3 years or so, and I had come in contact with my godmother. Now, I'm not from North Carolina, I'm from New Jersey originally, and my godmother is too, but she just happened to be living in North Carolina. So I linked up with her, a childhood friend, also from Jersey, and we were hanging out at a friend of my friend's house in North Carolina, who is, I don't know what she calls herself, but we'll just say she's a spiritualist. So she was getting messages from spirit the entire time we're sitting there. And at this time, I hadn't really talked about it much with anybody, my beliefs and what I believed. My friend had a pretty good idea, but I hadn't really been practicing. So, she knew some stuff, but she didn't know a lot. So basically, in that get together, one thing led to another, and it was for her. She said she felt like we should, consult the spirit board, and I think they called it a angel board or something like that. I don't know, but it's spirit Ouija board. So we did, and I remember at that time, it was like really tough financially for us because there was a deduction for like student loan stuff, like stuff that, if you see smoke, by the way, that's an incense. I think it was my husband's student loan. It was so many years ago, I really don't remember. But basically it was a judgment, a legal judgment, and they were taking money out of his check. Now, this got so bad because, quite frankly, it was just something he didn't deal with. I typically, at that time, handled things financially. I wasn't aware of it. It got way out of hand, and he just didn't deal with it, and it dealt with us. So once you're getting garnished, try to stop it. Long story short, it was like killing us because it was like, okay, we have a nice home. We could afford our, home. We could afford everything else. But when that happened, it really took a bite out of things. So I felt like, we were kind of suffering. He's looking for another job. Oh, it was sucking. Anyway, so during the reading or during, the interaction with the board, everybody sort of had something. So I asked what, mattered to me. I was like, well, is this going to end? Are we going to get past this experience, of just feeling like it's a sense of lack all the time and, not having enough, like this is crazy. I don't know how I didn't ask like that, but I'm in a room full of a bunch of people, this little small group. Oh, and my daughter was there. So I asked the question, basically saying, when is this going to be over? Because this is a big debt, and we're not going to be able to pay it all right now. He can pay it, but it can't be garnished. So it basically, the answer, it moved to yes, because the original question I think was like, will we come from this soon, or something like that. It was yes. But me being me, that wasn't enough. When? When? And I tell you, that board, we're all moving it, and it was the feeling of like, who's moving this? Are you moving it? And I'm looking around. I want to ask so bad, are you moving that board? I asked my daughter, I asked my friend. She was like, no. Long story short, it gave a date. The date was the day my husband was laid off from the job he was getting, the garnishment. And I remember that day. I marked, of course, everything that happened, I put it in my journal, because why wouldn't I put it in my journal? So I put it in my journal, and I realized, wait a minute, when he came home and told me what happened, the layoff. I said, are you serious? He's like, yeah. And he came home, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do now? The next week he got a job. Not only did he get a job, he got a job that paid him quadruple what he made. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. It was like maybe 3 times what he made. So life changed. And, everything, of course, was fine. He was able to manage the debt on his terms, not their terms, since then. But the point was, I got a direct message. Now I'm going to take it a step further. Me being me, it's not enough to know when. At that point, I should have stopped, right? I had to know who's talking, who's giving me this information. I asked the board, and I had gotten some initials, JOA, and then it was, I don't know if it was human interaction. I think we kind of fudged it up, and I was like, JOA. I did not realize for years who that was, and it finally came to me who that was. My grandmother had a best friend that I spent a lot of time around my grandmother growing up, Miss Joan. Miss Joan was like my little mini idol. She had, I'm sorry, my head's shedding hair shed. She had a style of her own. She was like so glamorous to me. She had a beautiful apartment, and it was very fancy, in my opinion. She wore her hair like in a bouffant hairdo, and this was in the 80s, so no one would be wearing like like old school bouffant where, she's using an Aquanet to hold that stuff up, or maybe it was a wig, I don't know. But she was just glamorous to me. She drew her eyebrows, that old school way back, like, back in the day. I'm trying to think, what movie was that where I would see that, like a Mommy Dearest style? So she was like really fancy, and she always had something positive to say to me about, when I grow up, do this or do that. And I always respected this woman, and she would always give me information. She was very nice to me. I'm her best friend's granddaughter, and I'm the first grandchild, by the way. So she was very pleasant to me and always very nice. So I believe it was her spirit that came through, and I gave me that information. And of course I was grateful at the time, and I still continue to be grateful, because when I knew, okay, so let me go back. When my husband came home and told me that, first I was panicked and shocked, like, what are we going to do? You have no job. What are we going to do? But then I remembered the reading. And let me give it a timeline. So we had the little get-together group, the spirit group thing, spirit board thing. It was like a month ahead. Like I say, a month or two, a month and a half or something like that. And then this happened. So, of course, it was always on my radar, like, oh, what's going to happen? Is that what's going to happen? I thought he would just get another job. So instead, it was this situation. So I was like, oh, okay. So that's what they meant. All right, so I got it. Okay. So I went ahead, and when he told me that, for some reason, I was not for some reason, because I knew I was very calm. I didn't feel the need to get upset or scared. And he was like, what's going on? I said, this is all going to work out. I know it. It's all going to work out. Don't worry about it. And he was like, are you, what? Yeah, I guess so. But my energy, my soothing energy, initially he was like, you crazy? I don't have a job. And I'm not going to live on unemployment. Like, I gotta hurry up and find a job. So he did. And I said, you will. Everything's changing, but it's supposed to. Everything is supposed to change right now. And it did. And that was the beginning to a very nice situation at that time, because boy, did we need that break. And we were able to live it up a little bit and still pay our bills, and it was great. And that's what I asked the board. I probably should have asked a little bit more, right? But that was my immediate issue. That was my immediate concern. And that was my immediate, like, my life. That was what was going on. So I had to know. So, yeah, that's my experience with the spirit board. I have used it since alone. I purchased one a lot years ago. After that, though, not like right after, but like years after that experience. Even though I purchased it and I used it, I never felt the same connection that I felt that night. I haven't used it in a long time. I still own one. I haven't pulled it out. It's sitting in storage right now. I could go get it, but I haven't felt the need to do it. I may pull it out. I just didn't get the same type of experience where I felt like the board was moving in its own, where I felt divinely guided, to move to a certain place. But I am still curious, because that was such a great experience. Of course, it could have been the company that I had. I was with people, from my hometown, where Miss Joan lived. I was with a spiritualist who I think at some point identified as someone who might have been a medium or psychic, or both. So that also may have something to do with, she was channeling. I don't necessarily know if that's one of my strong gifts. I don't know. I have had experiences with those who've passed on, family members that are close to me, one in particular. And but she doesn't speak to, she's come to me in dreams on more than one occasion, and she has come to me like with using my senses. This particular person was an aunt of mine, and she died young, and we were a little close in age, not too far apart in age. She came to me in a dream right after she died, and she came to me years later in a dream with a warning to tell one of her children. I never got a chance to tell her child that, because they were, what she was warning about happened. We'll just say that they're alive, but they were away. She was warning me to tell them, to fix their life or whatever. Anywho, I never got a chance to fully go into a conversation with them, because the reality of it is, when you are someone who comes over and tries to tell someone that has died has a message for them, they don't always believe you. Or they think you're crazy, or they think, it's in your head, or, whatever. And I don't really care so much that people might think I'm crazy. But this was a family member, and I don't have anything to prove to anybody. And I don't care if they think I'm a little cuckoo or a little weirdo. But if you're thinking that and you have a negative attitude, and that means you're not going to receive my message. So, it's on you. So anyway, that's what happened with that. But yeah, that's been my experience for the most part. I've never heard a voice or anything like that. I don't see dead people. People have passed and I don't see their spirit. Just dreams and sense, like I could smell her. She always had a certain scent. I used to say, you smell like pastry. She smelled good. So around her birthday, I would hear that, and I would hear her favorite song. I knew her favorite artist at the time. And around that time of year, her birthday, like clockwork, I always hear that song. It's an old song, so it's no reason for it to be in current rotation. And that time of year is not like, the yearly anniversary of that song or something. Excuse me, so it doesn't really make sense for that to be playing, but I can always catch it. It just is what it is. Yeah. No, as far as I'm concerned, it's not a gift that I'm currently possessing on that level. So again, maybe I would need to be with someone else who does have that gift and use the board again. I might be up for that. I don't know. I've not used it with my daughter because she was there. Wouldn't it be funny if she was the one with the kit? And all this time I'm thinking of someone else, and my resident medium is sitting right here. Well, I might do that. I might go get it out of storage. I have to dig through boxes and figure out which one it's in. I label them, but so it's an entire household sitting in a huge storage room. But that was my experience. It was positive. I didn't have a thing where the gates of hell opened and demons came out and they got me. And I let the evil spirits in. I didn't have any of that kind of craziness going on. So, if others have, I'm sorry. That wasn't my experience with the board. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that while doing this hair massage, which feels excellent, by the way, and rubbing this oil into my scalp. And I just wanted to come on and give my little story about that, because I think sometimes spirit boards, angel boards, Ouija boards, I think they get a bad rep, and maybe people move out of fear. If you don't know what you're doing, something's going to happen to you. If you don't know what you're doing with a lot of things, something's going to happen to you. If you don't know how to drive and you get behind the wheel of a car, you might do okay, or you might run into something. If you don't know how to ride a bike and you get on, you might fall. There's a lot of things that might happen if you don't know, bad things that could happen. So what I would tell you to do? Learn. Watch videos like this where someone tells you their experience and you're like, oh, okay, well, what did you do? I can tell you that. We cleansed the area. The sage was used. The woman whose board it was, she used Florida water to clean the board before and after. She said some sort of incantation, a blessing of sorts in the beginning to just basically ask for just, spirits who mean us well to come forward. And she did a closing to release them. That's pretty much it. I don't remember the exact words. This was a very long time ago. But, it happened and it worked out. And it was the best information I could have received at the time. So don't be afraid of the boards. All right, thanks again for watching. I'm going to get back to my hair day and continue to massage my scalp and pull this oil down on my hair strands here, let it sit for about 15 minutes, and then I'll use my homemade hair shampoo and go from there. So thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.